What's up, wrestling fans? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we are going to be giving our predictions for some superstars that we feel are going to win the Royal Rumble for whatever reason. If either of us have any that are the same, we'll both just talk about it at the same time. You know, these aren't in any particular order or anything like that. It's just our picks for who we feel should win the Rumble or is going to or whatever, based off the current storylines and everything else going on in WWE at the moment. So without further delay, let's get started. The first one I chose for the men's Royal Rumble is actually Solo Sikoa. I don't know if it's, necessarily that they're building toward him winning, but I think this whole thing with him losing to Roman and all that kind of stuff, losing the tribal chief stuff, and I found out recently that they're going to be changing the name of his group. No, they're no longer going to call them the Bloodline, so they're going to be called something else. So I feel like maybe this would be a step to get Solo back to being a sort of like major heel in the company, as if he could win the Royal Rumble, maybe face Cody and win the title at WrestleMania or something. I think that would be a good step for his character to get him back on top and make him feel like he was when he was claiming to be the tribal chief, fighting Roman and everything else.
I also had Solo Sikoa, not because I want him to win, but just, I could see it happening the way they've been setting it up. I could see it, so that's why I put it. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to win because I think there's other storylines they're planning on doing, not just with Solo, but with other people winning the Rumble. Solo could win the Chamber, I guess, too, later on and still fight Cody, unless the Rumble winner fights Cody. But Solo would be a good choice, I guess, but I just don't think he's going to win, but I put him down.
Yeah, and especially, right now, we don't really know the direction for his characters. I think, being in the Royal Rumble, winning the Rumble, maybe even eliminating Roman at the end, I think would be this big shocking moment or something.
True.
And would really, be able to continue him as this major heel that's on the same level as Roman Reigns, just by winning the Royal Rumble and that kind of stuff. Next up, I have Kevin Owens, and the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like he's still not going to win the championship off of Cody in their ladder match at the Rumble pay-per-view. And based off of what he said on Raw this week, he tried to get Sami Zayn to, I think it was this week or last week or something, he popped up and was talking to Sami, and he was trying to almost manipulate Sami into helping him win the title. He said, I'll help you win the Royal Rumble, you help me beat Cody, and then you and I can main event WrestleMania together like we've always wanted to do. And I think that that's going to backfire on him, so maybe he'll take Sami out of the Royal Rumble if that happens, and then he'll take his spot or something like that. Or I think he's going to at least cost Sami the Royal Rumble if, in that case, But Kevin Owens winning the Royal Rumble, whether through heel shenanigans, whether through taking someone else's spot, or just having his own entrant in the Rumble and then winning it, I think that will be perfect for his character and finally give him the chance to, fourth time's the charm, I guess. I think he's fought Cody 3 times already for the title, but fourth time's the charm. I think he could win the championship at WrestleMania. We have seen him as world champion before, but he hasn't really gotten to really main event a WrestleMania before, and I think that would be good for the character they have going for him right now, where he's this kind of deranged in a way. He wants revenge on Cody Rhodes and he'll do anything to get it, and he's also trying to win the championship from Cody, so what a better way than to take somebody out in the Royal Rumble and then enter in their spot and win,
I also put Kevin Owens. I don't know, I pictured another feud between Owens and Orton.
There's that too, right?
So I don't know if they would go the route of having the title involved, and Cody wins the Rumble, then wins the Kevin wins the Rumble, beats Cody at Mania, and then at SummerSlam or something faces Orton. Or if they have Owens win the Rumble, fight Cody or Gunther at Chamber, Orton wins the Chamber and fights Owens at Mania for the belt. And he doesn't have to fight Cody Rhodes either. He can go
No,
after
but I
Gunther.
think that's kind of what he's
And
trying to do.
I understand that, and that would be the whole plot point
Right.
behind it. But at the same time, it's also like, you can't beat Cody. You faced him 3 times and lost.
Yeah.
Go after Gunther. But I think Kevin Owens is about due a win in the Royal Rumble. So I think I'd be okay with it. And with this being another heel run for him, I think it would benefit Kevin Owens definitely to win the Rumble. And on the note of people who should win a Royal Rumble because they're about due to win, this is my signature pick. The pick that I pick every single time we do a prediction for the Royal Rumble because he will win eventually, and that is Mike Mizanin, The Miz. He is going to win a Royal Rumble before he retires, hopefully.
I don't agree.
Doesn't have to win the title. He is the greatest superstar to have ever wrestled in WWE, and I will take that to the grave. The Miz is my next pick to win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match.
Next up for me, I'm kind of on the same note as Kevin Owens. I also put Sami Zayn. I think it would be interesting to see him win the Royal Rumble, especially it seems like they're trying to build him up to win a world title eventually. He did beat Gunther at last year's WrestleMania to win the Intercontinental Championship. So I think that could almost be like a full circle thing with him winning the Royal Rumble, then challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Or you have him face Cody or even Kevin Owens if it still works out that way too. It's almost like they were teasing that that's going to happen in the first place. Rather than them just having a simple match at WrestleMania, they could actually go the route of having Sami win the Rumble even without Kevin's help or something. Or Kevin finds a way to win the world title again before Mania if he doesn't beat Cody, and then the two of them still fight. I think either way, it'd be good for Sami Zayn. He's been here for a while now. He is being built as this guy that I feel like they're going to put the world title on eventually. Hopefully. I mean, him and Kevin have both been here around the same amount of time, along with guys like Seth Rollins and everything else, and he's already been a world champion. Kevin's already been a world champion, so why not give it to Sami Zayn as well and have him get there by winning the Royal Rumble,
I mean, I see your point with Sami. I didn't have him, but I'm sorry. I'm just not that big of a fan of Sami Zayn. I don't know. It's just I don't think he has that potential to be world champion. I don't. I could be in the minority here when I say it, but I just don't think Sami Zayn is world championship material. I think he fits better in the mid card where he's at, going after the IC title and the US title.
But you think the Miz could win the Royal Rumble?
Miz has won 2 world titles.
Oh, okay.
Sami Zayn hasn't.
Right. Well, there you go.
I don't know. I don't get that excited when Sami comes out. I don't. It's not that that exciting for me to watch Sami Zayn. Nothing against Sami Zayn. I'm not. He's talented. Obviously, he wouldn't have been here this long if he wasn't. Right. I just don't think that. And maybe it's just the way they booked him. Maybe it was his talent, or maybe it was the fact that he was part of the OG bloodline, and it just made me hate him. I don't know. But I mean, I've never really been that big of a fan of Sami Zayn, but that's why I didn't have him.
I'm kind of on the same level as Sami Zayn as well. Another main eventer, literally. I put main event Jey Uso. I don't know. He doesn't. Speaking of people that don't really do much in the ring, I don't think he's that great of a competitor just in singles competition. He was a lot better in a tag team with his brother, but just the way that they've been booking him lately, where he finally won a singles championship when he won the Intercontinental title, and
for 2 weeks.
He's been involved in a lot of main events, and he is challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. So I do feel like they do see him as maybe the next sort of Roman Reigns kind of, where they want to put the world title on him, and maybe it'd be a really surprising moment if he would win the Royal Rumble. I can guarantee that. Everybody, I could see the whole crowd doing the yeet thing and all that stuff. It'd be an awesome celebration at the end if he won the Royal Rumble. So maybe they'll do something like that just for the hype value and everything, or the excitement and the shock and all that stuff. But I just don't see him really putting on a great match for the World Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. He just doesn't seem like a main event guy to me. But I did see him for that alone and everything, for the surprise and shock value and stuff, I could see them making him win the Royal Rumble.
I didn't put Jey Uso. I don't think he's there where he needs to be in the main event. No pun intended. And speaking of people that should be in the main event, and the guy who will probably win the Rumble because he was supposed to win last year, I put CM Punk. I just think it's because I mean I don't know if it was true or not that he was supposed to win the Rumble last year, but it was rumored that he was going to win the Rumble, and I think this year you could have him win you could have him win the Rumble this year. He could fight Gunther, keep one of his feuds with either Drew or Seth going, and one of them could challenge Punk for the world title, or Punk go after Cody and win the WWE title and then move on to a different challenger. But I think Punk versus Gunther would be a good match. I think Punk versus Cody would be a good match. I think we've seen it before.
That one, I don't know if when Punk made it to like AEW, if Cody was still there, or
I don't even know, or maybe like old Cody Rhodes.
Oh yeah,
versus Punk. I don't know.
That would be interesting. And I also put CM Punk, but it's kind of for a different reason. Like, I almost wasn't going to put him because I feel like that's kind of an obvious one. But I think there is a way that they can make it a bit more shocking and add more of a shock value to it, is if CM Punk, whatever entrant number he comes out, he gets eliminated soon after or whatever. And then later on, when Roman Reigns is supposed to come out, we find out that Punk asked Paul Heyman for his favor, that Heyman owes him a favor since he teamed up with Roman at Survivor Series. That was the deal, Punk would help them, but Paul owes him a favor. So what if that favor is he takes Roman's spot in the Royal Rumble? Now, that would add some kind of fuel to a potential Roman Reigns versus CM Punk rivalry, especially if Punk goes to WrestleMania, wins the world title, or wins the WWE title, which is what Roman is trying to get back. And also you have the potential where they could maybe give a legitimate reason to adding Roman to the match and making it a triple threat match, because Roman was supposed to be in the Rumble and his spot was taken from him by CM Punk, and it would also maybe make Roman hate Paul Heyman as well, and maybe you'd get the tension there with, like, is Paul aligned with Punk now? Is he aligned with Roman? Kind of like what they did with Roman and Brock Lesnar in the past. I think that's where they might make this whole thing with his favor that he's owed come into play. It would be in the Royal Rumble match. I think that would be a really surprising thing that would kind of turn the tables almost, and like nobody would expect that, and all of a sudden it's like CM Punk a second time. Because we don't really see that normally, like people entering twice, other than like when Mick Foley did it, but that was like because of gimmicks and stuff. But I think that would make that feel more like, make that feel more important, and like, because we're still wondering what exactly this favor is. It's either that or maybe Punk will get added to the match and still make it a triple threat match if Roman wins the Rumble or something along those lines. Yeah. I just feel like it's connected to Roman Reigns still somehow, and that's what CM Punk is going to use that for, to take Roman's spot in the Rumble, and then whatever, say Roman's number 30, that's easier for Punk. He has a second chance.
We don't need another number 30 to win the Rumble.
Well, whatever number
won 4 times already.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I feel like if Punk comes out first and then Roman comes out first, and Roman comes out after, and then Punk gets eliminated, I think that's where that whole storyline will come into play.
So off of CM Punk and Roman kind of, and that favor that Punk has, I kind of went with somebody who has the ability to make things happen in the company. That being the final boss, The Rock.
I don't know why I forgot about him.
I mean, you could kind of count this as like a surprise appearance too, I guess. But I don't know that they need The Rock to win the Rumble, but I think it would build up that, because he did say he was coming for Cody. At some point down the line, he's going to challenge Cody for the WWE title. It could be at Mania. I think, is Mania in Hollywood this year?
No, this...
Or is it? It's Vegas.
Yeah.
Which still, I mean, close enough. And what a better place to do it than in Las Vegas. The Rock versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. I don't know if it's gonna happen. The Rock could be in the Rumble, I guess, and cause like Roman to get eliminated, or even eliminate Solo, I guess, or like threaten to fire people and pull like a Vince McMahon type of thing.
I think it's gonna be more of that. Just The
yeah.
Rock like costs Roman the match or something like that, and then maybe that's how maybe you can set up also then Cody versus Roman versus The Rock and have a triple threat match.
I don't know that The Rock is gonna wrestle again though.
He might. I mean, but
he did that one match and he did fine.
Yeah, I mean they're building him up as the final boss.
So.
You might as well use him and have him wrestle.
And then my last one I have for the men. This is a long shot. It's probably not gonna happen. I just think it would be cool. It'd be everybody's favorite if everybody was saying the winner of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. L.A. Knight, yeah. It's not gonna happen, but it's a just a shot in the dark. It's just a fun pick.
Maybe somewhere down the road, maybe not this year's Royal Rumble. I don't think he's quite there yet.
I don't either.
To be in the world title picture, but like maybe down the road. And then for the women, I only had a couple really that I could think of.
I have 4.
Sort of make sense. In terms of just the stories they're telling, everything else. First of all, I'd go with Liv Morgan. I just think like they're gonna build back up to her like beating Rhea again at WrestleMania, but maybe this time they'll have the rules reversed, where this time Liv will be a babyface again and Rhea will be the heel, or something like that. I don't know if I necessarily want to see Liv win the title back because she just won it, unless she faces Tiffany Stratton. And wins that title and then goes to SmackDown and leaves the Judgment Day behind and everything else, and then you have Liv Morgan on SmackDown.
If you listen to Finn, you win. Okay.
Yeah, but I just think I don't know. It feels like it'd be time for her to win the Royal Rumble.
I mean, I wasn't expecting her to win Money in the Bank when she did,
I know.
And then she won Money in the Bank, and then I really wasn't expecting her to beat Ronda for the belt when she cashed in Money in the Bank. I mean, I also picked Liv Morgan, so. I think it's that time. There's not really that many other women that are left that haven't won already that deserve a Rumble win. I mean, you look at people like Bianca Belair. Yeah, she deserves one, but she already did. Becky's not really still here.
I mean,
Asuka won already.
Winner,
Ronda we don't talk about. So
yeah.
They could, yes. Yeah. And speaking of 2-time winners, I had Charlotte as a pick. I know it would technically be like a surprise thing because she's not really here, but I think everybody kind of knows.
Well, they did advertise that she's returning soon on SmackDown.
Yeah, so she'll be in the Rumble. I don't want to see Charlotte win again because it seems like every time she comes back from an injury, she gets a title shot because she's. Woo!
Well, and see, that's the thing, too. She feels like that she's big enough where they'll just give her a title shot or something, or put her directly in a feud with a world champion. They don't need her to win the Royal Rumble again, That's why I didn't really put her
I just feel like if they put her in the Rumble, she's probably going to win. They're not going to do this whole thing building her return up and then just...
Well, a lot of people are theorizing and stuff that she's going to face Tiffany Stratton, which I guess you could kind of see maybe because she's Tiffany is almost kind of like Charlotte.
I guess I'd be okay with that, but I don't know. Charlotte needs to stop. She can keep wrestling, be in the main event. I don't care. Just don't win a belt.
Don't have to win the title.
You don't need to be an 85-time world champion before you retire.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get her to her 16-time like her father.
Yeah. Well, she held it a lot quicker than Ric Flair did. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Next up, I have Io Sky also. Yep. I feel like, they were building to her. She did challenge Liv Morgan for the World Championship at the first Saturday night's main event. And she is the former World Heavyweight Champion. So I think maybe to get her back in that, or back in the title picture and everything, is to have her win the Royal Rumble. I think I've heard a few people at least saying that'd be a good choice to win the Rumble and everything. But I think her versus Rhea Ripley, we haven't seen that yet as far as I know. Unless it was like part of the,
at least not this version of Rhea and Io.
So I think that would be an interesting main event slot for one of the 2 nights to have Io versus Rhea for the World Heavyweight title, and then maybe have Io win it back or whatever. I know Rhea did just get it back, but I don't know. I could see that. Maybe this kind of breaks EO from Damage Control officially.
That's kind of why I put EO in here. Her and Damage Control obviously have been a major faction on Raw, but Kyrie got hurt. Asuka is hurt, and Dakota's doing their own thing. Even when they were in the IC title tournament, they had them come out separate, so they were all coming out with their own music and all of that. I mean, I guess Pure Fusion Collective did it too, and so they all came out with their own music. But it just feels like the group is kind of breaking up, but not because they hate each other, just because they're doing their own thing.
Right.
And this could be the way to get EO to do that. She won Money in the Bank. She's been the women's champion before, and she is very talented in the ring. So I could see EO Sky winning the Rumble.
And the last one I have for the women's one would be Nia Jax. I mean, I feel like at this point, she was just the former women's champion. So I feel like she has improved a lot in the ring and everything, too, where she does deserve to be in the main event now. And she is that really good heel character that, nobody can beat. She's, seems like to be the irresistible force or whatever, the immovable object that someone has to compete against, and nobody was able to beat her until Tiffany cashed in on her. Yeah. So it was kind of I think it'd be perfect if she, nobody can eliminate her in the Rumble or something and she just wins. It'd be like if Braun Strowman won the men's one or something, whatever, something along those lines. But I think it's time that Nia probably should win the Royal Rumble because of everything they've done with her, the years she's had and everything else, and the work that she's been doing. I think she's up there now with some of the major stars. So I could see her finally winning the Royal Rumble. I know she's been in a couple and she has been eliminated before, but that was kind of back when she was more of just
she was also in the men's.
That's true. And that was back when she was more of a goof and everything, really, and she wasn't really that exciting of a character or anything like that. But now she's doing all this stuff. She's feuding with Rhea Ripley and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they're teasing that she could win the Royal Rumble.
I mean, I had Nia too. Now this begs the question though, because she's currently in a feud with Rhea over the women's world title, but she dropped the belt to Tiffany. So if Nia were to win the Rumble, does she go back after the belt that Tiffany beat her for? Or does she stay in the rivalry with Rhea and win the women's world title? So that kind of brings that up too. So then it makes it interesting because then you don't know who they're going after. A lot of times with these Rumble winners, you can kind of predict. Like if Punk wins, he's probably not going after Cody Rhodes. Because it's that other right. It's that other feud. If Kevin Owens wins, he's probably not going after Gunther. Because he's in the feud with Cody and all that. So you usually have that prediction, but you don't necessarily get that with Nia because she is feuding in a way with both of them because she dropped the belt to Tiffany but also is challenging Rhea. So it might give you that sort of expectation of who's she going to cash in on? But I think if Nia wins, I think she'll stay with going after Rhea for the women's world title because that would technically make her
Tiffany.
That would technically give her a different belt because the WWE women's title was the Raw women's title, which was the one Nia already held. That's so true. This way here, she'd win the SmackDown one.
That's the end of our regular list, but we did pick out a couple surprise entrants that we think might enter the Royal Rumble. Not necessarily win, but I think just the people that, because there's always some kind of shocking return or something that you.
Except that one year that they revealed everybody in the thing.
They haven't really done that this year, so it does leave room for surprise, and I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. Especially in the women's one, because it seems like they haven't announced
we don't
too
know
many people in that one yet.
First off, there's not that many women on the main roster anyways.
That's true.
And second, they haven't announced it, but now with the TNA merger, where they're doing the NXT and TNA crossover stuff, you're probably going to be getting a lot of TNA women.
But I have, first of all, a return of Alexa Bliss. I did hear recently that they scrapped the plans that they had for her return, but I think maybe that's probably.
She should join the Wyatt.
I think that's what they were originally going to do. I think, and they just decided against it. Maybe because they switched. Maybe because they switched the Wyatt 6 to SmackDown or something, so they kind of scrapped all the plans. But I feel like that could be a swerve. because WWE has done that before. Like they'll say like this person isn't coming back or whatever, and then they swerve us and they're back. Like no one expected The Rock to wrestle last year, and they did this whole thing where like, is he gonna fight in the main event or no? Is Cody giving him that match? And he didn't. So like them saying that Alexa Bliss isn't coming back is probably because she is gonna come back in the Royal Rumble or whatever.
I agree. I also put Alexa Bliss. She's actually the only surprise I have for the Women's Rumble. Just because everybody else, I just feel like is gonna be like they're in the Rumble type of thing.
Well, I also have another one.
Because there's nobody else, really.
I also have another one that's like a shot in the dark, kind of, but I went with Carmella also. It's been a few years now, I think, since we've seen Carmella. I know she was pregnant and everything. I just feel like maybe to feud with like Tiffany Stratton, maybe, or something. Like Carmella, SmackDown kind of needs more heel women, I feel like, because Raw has a lot of them with like Damage Control
in general.
Well, that too. So like Carmella and Alexa Bliss both going to SmackDown or something, and maybe returning Charlotte Flair, that could like suddenly stack that roster. I kind of just thought of Carmella out of nowhere because it's been a while since we've seen her, and I don't know if she's planning on coming back to wrestling or not or whatever, but it's been a while, so I figured that would be like a shocking return.
Going off of that, then we'll go to the men, because I'm going to use Carmella's hubby here as a surprise entrant in the Rumble and go with Corey Graves. I know he was just sent back to NXT as a commentator, and a lot of people were saying, because like I guess he was upset about it, whatever. And people were saying maybe they're going to use this to, like, he's going to be like, oh, I don't want to be a commentator anymore on SmackDown or on NXT. He was on SmackDown. I don't want to be a commentator anymore, and then he'll get back in the ring. So, I mean, this could be a way to do it, like show, hey, look, I entered the Rumble. I can still wrestle. I don't really care for Corey Graves that much, but I think it'd be interesting. And there's always that surprise of a commentator being in the Royal Rumble, so I think Corey Graves being that. I mean, last year it was Pat McAfee, so it can't get any worse.
I mean, it could be Michael Cole again.
He should win.
Yeah, okay.
Him and The Miz together, dump each other over and co-win.
But I have, for the men, I have two surprise entrants that I picked. The first one is actually Big E. Now, I feel like him coming back just to do that whole New Day heel turn thing, I think wasn't the end of that. I think he's going to come back and probably, maybe either he's in the Rumble and then he eliminates Kofi and Xavier or what. I don't think, obviously, Big E's going to win the Rumble or anything, but I think it'd be a nice sort of feel-good moment to see him back in a wrestling ring again.
Yeah.
And they can start to build a feud between him and maybe Xavier or Kofi, one-on-one at Wrestlemania or something.
This last one I picked, it's been kind of rumored he might show up, and you know what they say, if you say his name, he'll appear. So let's say it and see if he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry, the TNA World Champion, the new TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry, one of my favorite wrestlers, fought in NXT a couple of times.
Yep.
He's fun. Joe Hendry, I think, would be cool. And with that TNA WWE crossover, who better than the world champion, Joe Hendry, to make an appearance?
But there you go, guys. Those are our picks for who we think is going to win this year's Royal Rumble match. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section. Who do you think is going to win? Who are some of your surprise entrants that you think are going to come out? Let us know all that down in the comments section. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more, and check out all the other wrestling content we've had on this channel over the years and that sort of stuff. There's a whole playlist of it, so go check all that out. Thank you for watching the video, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.